my Patreon. What, no love for forks or knives? Ah yes, here we have an episode simply known as The Spoon. Yikes, the previous episode was The Fog, now we're on The Spoon. This show is getting a little uncreative with its title names, isn't it? Or maybe it's just trying to rip off Gumball. Well, at the end of my review of The Fog, I had said I was excited to move on to this one because it is an episode that barely features Buttercup at all. After further reflection, the message I want to express to you all is, careful what you wish for. Yeah, unfortunately, despite this being a Blossom and Bubbles-centric episode, that doesn't save it from being a pretty insufferable watch. There's a lot wrong with this one that I just find poorly thought out on the reboot's part, and contradictory to other aspects that were already established in the show, but I'm sure you'll see what I mean as the plot unfolds. With that said, let's get right into The Spoon.
How orange juice tastes after you brush your teeth.
So our episode begins with Bubbles saying she hates the way orange juice tastes after she brushes her teeth. And would you believe me if I told you that this sentence is literally the entire basis of Bubbles' motivation in the episode? Because rest assured, this one line is actually pivotal in explaining why Bubbles does everything that she does. The girls don't get to enjoy their breakfast for very long, however, because instead of calling them on their hotline cell phones, the mayor comes rushing in through their window, which he does not offer to fix, by the way, and shouting that a giant spoon magically appeared in the center of Townsville overnight without any rhyme or reason. So the girls rush on over there to check it out and hopefully put a stop to whatever evil threat this arbitrarily large spoon could pose to the town.
Where did it come from? Why is it here?
Where did it come from? Why is it here?
Why did the crowd feel the need to repeat what he said like that? Seems kinda random.
Stay tuned.
Spoon-a-geddon! I just woke up and it was here.
Not as random as that clip just being inserted into the middle of the episode, though.
Spoon-a-geddon!
Okay, we get it. Spoon-a-geddon, it's random, haha. And so, the girls arrive on the scene and begin to
Spoon-a-geddon!
Jeez, would you stop that? I'm trying to review an episode here. So the girls arrive on the scene and begin to inspect the mysterious spoon, trying to figure out where it came from and what it could possibly mean. Bubbles starts theorizing that this spoon could have come from all sorts of different sources, whether it be aliens or an angry giant, both of which have a pretty solid possibility because this show always makes up whatever the heck it wants, but Blossom chastises her for jumping to conclusions. At the very least, her reasoning isn't aliens don't exist, so thank God we don't have another Blossom file situation on our hands.
Bubbles, we're superheroes. We shouldn't just say things without being sure.
What really gets me with this, though, is that Blossom's lecturing here actually makes her out to be a total hypocrite without her even realizing it. Because Bubbles and Buttercup literally trick her into contradicting herself by asking how she thinks the spoon got there. Instead of straight up admitting she doesn't have a clue or presenting any form of reasonable evidence to draw a logical conclusion, she proposes her own theory.
Well, where do you think the spoon came from? I don't know. Maybe it's a parade float from some town's silverware festival that got caught in a tornado or something.
So even though she just said that because they're superheroes, they shouldn't just guess the cause without any idea or proof that confirms it, she literally spouts off her own random idea that makes zero sense and has no evidence to justify it. And you know, that hypothesis was so absurdly specific that I already know it's going to be the explanation we're given at the end. This was the immediate thought I had after watching this for the first time, and sure enough, I'm right because this reboot is that predictable. Well, Buttercup doesn't really care if she contradicts herself or not because she's currently selling novelty t-shirts themed around the mysterious spoon and making a fortune off of it thanks to the power of societal peer pressure and popular trends. Everybody's talking about the spoon, so spoon-themed merchandise is bound to sell like hotcakes. Bubbles also floats on up to the spoon while this is going on and claims it is communicating with her, to which the news anchor immediately catches wind of and asks her what all it's saying.
Did I hear you right? The spoon speaks to you?
Oh, sure. It says don't brush your teeth because if you do, your orange juice will taste really funny.
By Joe, she's right!
So basically this spirals out of control and the idiotic citizens of Townsville quickly latch onto this idea that Bubbles is the supreme spoon whisperer and actually has the ability to communicate with an inanimate object. Hey, you ever see Get Swifty from Rick and Morty? This is basically the head-worshipping cult half of that episode, but with a spoon. Sadly, there's no catchy song either. The townsfolk quickly latch onto their leader that claims the spoon can speak to them without very much evidence other than pure coincidences that magically make the leader appear to have more credence than they should.
Does the spoon think I will ever find my glasses?
Yep.
By Joe, she's the chosen one!
I thought Donnie was the chosen one. If there's more than one chosen one, then shouldn't she be referred to as one of the chosen two? I'm just saying that if the show already established a character as being the chosen one, and then it goes and says another character is the chosen one, then there's a contradiction there because the title of chosen one literally signifies a single solitary individual. But that's not even the worst case of ignoring continuity in this episode. Cut to the next day where Blossom goes to brush her teeth only to find out that her toothbrush is missing and her backup has been misplaced as well. So she goes to the store to buy one instead of asking her family members around the house where her stuff went, because who would do the first logical thing, right? Well, this only leads to her getting kicked out of the store and being threatened to have the police called on her. Ah, the police. Remember when they were characters in the Powerpuff Girls? Now they never show up at all, aside from the rare occasion that they decide to drive somebody to prison. Hell, they don't even show up when the girls are in prison. Bear in mind that this is only one day later, a full 24 hours if you will. Knowing this information, I want you to observe how much supposedly changes in the span of this time period. Blossom is super confused as to what's going on here, but she sees her favorite dentist around the street corner, Dr. Martin the dentist. And yes, every single time this guy shows up, Blossom will refer to him as Dr. Martin the dentist, in case you forgot that he was Dr. Martin the dentist. Coincidentally enough, this is the same Dr. Martin the dentist we saw in Tooth or Consequences when Blossom was afraid of getting her teeth cleaned. But in that episode, Dr. Martin the dentist was just referred to as Dr. Martin, not Dr. Martin the dentist. Oh, did I mention that this guy's name is Dr. Martin the dentist? In case you didn't get that, the episode will certainly make that clear to you.
Dr. Martin the dentist? Dr. Martin the dentist? Dr. Martin the dentist? Dr. Martin the dentist!
It is here that Dr. Martin, the dentist, gives Blossom a toothbrush for being super disciplined with brushing her teeth, even though she absolutely refused to cooperate at the dentist's office in Tooth or Consequences. And while you could just say she learned her lesson in the end, I mean, she kinda didn't, but I suppose we could theoretically say she did improve over time. Again, this isn't the worst continuity issue either, in my opinion. Blossom flies over only to discover that a mysterious cult has gathered around dressed in these weird robes that mask their identities, which they had also bought from Buttercup, who had found them in the dumpster along with the novelty t-shirts. Blossom actually asks Buttercup what's going on, and she tells her about what all has changed since the previous day.
They're not worshiping the spoon. They're worshiping something much, much, much worse.
Yeah, apparently Bubbles is this great Spoonlord now because Townsville citizens are taking this whole spoon thing way too far, and Blossom tells Bubbles that she's being ridiculous straight to her face because of this. She even pulls out that toothbrush that Dr. Martin the dentist gave her, and Barry jumps out to take the hit because he's the true hero of the show, let's be real. Rest in peace, Bucket Boy. You will be missed.
You're not the Spoonlord! Oh. I am the Spoonlord!
This threat from Blossom angers Bubbles to an outrageous degree, but considering how gross and disgusting her teeth are, Blossom is in the right here, and whoa, wait just a truck-lovin' minute. Bubbles has rotten teeth now? Alright, Reboot, you done fucked up again. Congratulations. Yeah, Bubbles' whole anti-teeth brushing attitude is a complete contradiction to what she was established to be like in Tooth or Consequences. In that episode, she was shown to take her teeth cleaning super seriously, practically to a religious degree. She was even featured on that dentist office front billboard for having the best smile of the month. Yet now this episode depicts her as hating the dentist and not taking care of her teeth because toothpaste makes her orange juice taste funny. So is there just zero consistency between these characters taking care of their teeth? Like, Buttercup took care of her teeth in Tooth or Consequences too, whereas Blossom did not, and thus turned into this disgusting monster thing that I'm still not sure what to make of. In Secret Swapper of Doom, Buttercup was actually the one shown to be doing a horrendous job of brushing her teeth, and now here, in The Spoon, Blossom is all buddy-buddy with her favorite dentist, and Bubbles hasn't taken care of them at all. Or are we supposed to believe her teeth rotted in a 24-hour time span because the opening scene implies that Bubbles had just brushed her teeth before having breakfast? At the very least, the episode could have skipped to 1 week later, that way Bubbles could at least be shown to have some stained teeth and smelly breath, while also giving ample enough time for society to convert over to this new cult-following lifestyle. And basically, Bubbles' entire philosophy for ruling the town as the Spoonlord is to put an end to dental hygiene because it ruins the taste of drinks. Even though she could just wait 20 minutes or even eat another food that can mitigate the taste of fluoride in her mouth and then enjoy the drinks. It's not just toothpaste that does this shit either. You ever tried drinking something after eating chocolate? Unless it's milk, that shit's probably gonna taste disgusting. As I had foreshadowed, that opening line she delivered was more important than it really should have been because it created the implication that she had just brushed her teeth before making that comment.
I hate how orange juice tastes after you brush your teeth.
I mean, why else would she be incentivized to say this if it wasn't already affecting her at the moment to make her say what was on her mind? Well, because of her sister's resistance to worship her, Bubbles sics her cult following on Blossom and they chase her around the city until she escapes inside a sewer drain with who else but Dr. Martin the dentist, who leads her into his resistance base where he and all sorts of other dentists who don't get acknowledged by name are planning a strategy to bring the Spoonlord down. And what do you know, suddenly there's a bunch of Star Wars references, what with the resistance and the giant hologram screen that explains their plan to blow up the Death Spoon, as well as all of the Resistance members being dressed up like stormtroopers, even though the stormtroopers are on the side of the Empire/First Order, not the Rebellion/Resistance. Yeah. And you may be wondering where all of those Tooth Trooper outfits came from.
It's only been a day. Where'd you get all these uniforms?
Tooth helmets! Get your tooth helmets here!
Yep, Buttercup ripped them straight out of that dumpster. Upon hearing that their plan is to blow up the spoon and cause 10 square city blocks worth of damage, Blossom volunteers to sneak in and break the cult apart from the inside to avoid all of the excess collateral damage. In other words, Blossom wants to ruin all of the fun, but she gets what she deserves because she ends up getting captured in between shots and without us getting to see any of the action.
There's no way I'm gonna get caught.
We caught her!
Well, that's kinda lame. We couldn't even see this nifty infiltration sequence or some kind of attempt to get back to Bubbles. This reboot really is just Powerpuff Girls minus the fun, because it goes out of its way to skip past of all of the sequences that actually have the potential to be exhilarating to watch. Thanks, CN executives. What makes it even worse is that Blossom is tied up with regular old rope. And I'm not gonna thank the executives for that one, I don't think that was them. Lucky for her, she isn't tied up for too long because the Tooth Troopers come in and start an all-out war with Bubbles' spoon-worshipping army, seemingly having abandoned their initial plan of blowing up the giant spoon for whatever untold reason and just shooting their enemies instead.
The Tooth Troopers! Protect the giant spoon!
How does Bubbles know these guys by name if she's only been in power for one day and they've never revealed themselves nor plotted an attack before now? Well, I don't know, but I do know that Buttercup sold both sides their laser spoons and toothbrushes of choice thanks to that nifty old dumpster, and Blossom manages to be freed by Dr. Martin the dentist, who gives her an uncomfortable wink that's just all sorts of cringeworthy, and I don't use that word lightly. But her and Bubbles proceed to have a phony lightsaber battle that doesn't last long at all because it's over in 3 relatively slow swings that are censored by hit flashes.
Blossom, use the lollipop.
Well, this day can't get any weirder.
Don't ask me how that lollipop turned into a toothbrush, and don't ask me what the intent was here in terms of referencing Star Wars, because as far as Star Wars references go in mainstream media, this is so unremarkably forgettable. This show has done references to other things way better than this. This is so shallow and underwhelming, even by comparison to other episodes in the reboot. And doesn't this Force ghost of Dr. Martin the dentist imply that he's dead? I mean, I know the dude got shot in the chest and Blossom did that staple Star Wars no, but still, this, by Star Wars logic, means his physical body is gone. In fact, I already forgot where I was going with this, so allow me to entice you all with the epic climax that this episode delivers to us.
Hey, oh, there's my spoon. I've been looking all day for it. Darn thing was a parade floating last town silverware festival. But a tornado blew it away.
Yep, turns out it really was part of a silverware parade that got blown here by a tornado. What are the odds? Guess Blossom's random hypothesis was correct after all, which ironically proves herself wrong, and thus she should apologize to Bubbles for her outlandish accusation, but she never does. And of course, continuing the trend of ultra fast-paced ending sequences, the lady just drives off with her spoon and the episode ends with Bubbles realizing she's not the Spoonlord, and all the citizens rob Buttercup of her fairly earned money.
I guess I'm not the Spoonlord. No, but I think we all learned an important lesson about how fragile...
Hey, let's get refunds on all the stuff we bought!
Alright, Blossom's moral getting cut off, I'm fine with that. But the fact that Bubbles experiences zero repercussions and the citizens unjustly rob Buttercup of the money she earned fair and square just leaves that familiar sour taste in my mouth. For Bubbles, she literally just goes, "Oh, I guess I'm not the Spoonlord." And then she gets off scot-free and that's the end. All is forgiven apparently, despite the fact that she was a cruel dictator who was literally going to burn her own sister at the stake.
You shall be burned at the spoon!
Does anyone have a match? This is a spoon.
Admittedly, Tom Kenny's delivery of that line was spot on, but that doesn't take away from the bigger picture here. Yeah, Bubbles was literally going to kill Blossom here, and nobody fucking acknowledges this. I get if people get upset at Salamander because Bubbles mistreats Blossom, but I had watched this episode before making that review, which kept things in perspective. Compared to this, which is far worse in my opinion, Salamander is tame. And honestly, if you hate Salamander for that reason, you should hate this episode even more because Bubbles goes farther in her clearly abusive actions towards Blossom. I genuinely wonder how this show can go to sleep at night when it manages to create such fucking horrible depictions of these characters in what's supposed to be a show about spreading positivity, sisterhood, feminism, and entertainment. Hey, you know what sends a really good message about sisterhood? Having the sisters burn each other alive without mercy. That's how we'll appeal to children. That's how we'll send our audience a good message. Surely there are not any worse implications created by this scenario that the show is too apathetic to revise or anything. No, of course not. Okay, sarcasm aside, this show could have just had Blossom tied up in a cage or something, but no. Instead it took it one step further and decided it was gonna all out murder her. The fact that the show treats Bubbles like she never did anything wrong when she tried to, again, burn her sister alive is disgusting. It's repulsive. Like, Jesus Christ, this show knows no bounds. Bubbles isn't even shown to feel bad for tricking all of these people into worshipping her, or berating Blossom for doing the right thing, or even to all the dentists she tried to vilify and put out of a job. This episode literally makes Bubbles appear as the worst person imaginable. And while we all know that the true worst person imaginable is Professor Utonium, he's not in this episode. Lock this girl up behind bars. That's the reaction I had when I finished this episode. What a disgusting person this episode turned her into. A selfish, disgusting person. And then there's the citizens who all gang up on Buttercup to get their money back for all of the stuff they bought. I'm not really bothered by the fact that this isn't how refunds work, even though all sales are final at stands like this. It's just their rude behavior and aggression in doing it. Okay, they take their rage out on Buttercup when she sold them all of that equipment fair and square. That ain't how this works, and despite my distaste for Buttercup, I am going to take her side here, and I want all of these people locked up in prison in the cells adjacent to Bubbles. Even the Tooth Troopers, because good old Dr. Martin the dentist was the one who started the whole refund thing. Didn't he die? If this dude's alive, then could the reboot please explain this giant floating Force Ghost head? That just tells me it misunderstands what it's referencing. But whatever, I'm used to seeing the citizens of Townsville act like complete dicks, so this is nothing new. I know there's been a lot of episodes this season that have crashed and burned with their climax and resolution, but this one just incinerated. What a sour note to end that one on. Honestly, The Spoon, it's a pretty frustrating watch, not only because of Bubbles' awful behavior towards her sisters, but because this show once again illustrates its selective continuity problem. I genuinely do wish The Spoon was better than it is, and at the very least called out all of Bubbles' wrongdoings and gave her a fitting punishment that she deserves, especially because Blossom suffered a lot for everything to work itself out in the end. Buttercup barely has any part in this, which I am grateful for, but sadly her absence from the main plot does not add much to the overall miserable experience that the episode still gave me. The show certainly needs more Blossom and Bubbles episodes, but not like this. I'm thinking more along the lines of Sugar, Spice, and Super Lice. Although, with this show's cancellation, it seems that there won't be any more chances in this reboot, which is fine by me. I am so sick and tired of the horrid, awful, despicable things that the reboot keeps portraying. I really am. It feels like no matter what it does, it always finds a new way to make me not like it. And I really do try to point out good things when I see them, and a lot of my viewers tell me that they appreciate that I'm actually fair on this show, which tells me a lot. But the bad just outweighs that good by such an outrageous degree. Oh well, that's gonna do it for this review, guys. Catch you for the next one.